we all know that EA, despite Battlefield 6 coming out soon, and it seems to be a major win for the company right now, they have been struggling quite a bit. So is Ubisoft. Ubisoft has been struggling quite a bit, and we know this because they made a massive deal with Tencent, a major Asian gaming company, with a locked IP deal with Assassin's Creed, and I believe it was Far Cry and Rainbow Six, I think, and The Division maybe. So yeah, bunch of certain IPs. So Tencent invest a whole bunch of money into Ubisoft with those concerning those specific IPs because they're struggling. And same is true with Electronic Arts because they are a publicly owned company at the moment. However, they've been struggling quite a lot with their latest releases. Release after release, they've been losing money. Immortals of Aveum, Disaster, BioWare's new game, the newest Dragon Age game, and the bunch of games BioWare put out lately, including Anthem. You know what a disaster that was. And yeah, so they've been struggling quite a bit, and it looks like now they're trying to sort of hang on to a saving line in an attempt to go private. And someone's trying to buy out. So let's see what this is about. So what they're saying here is Electronic Arts, I'll pull it up a little. Yeah. Electronic Arts might be returning to being a private company, according to a new report from the Wall Street Journal. He is deep in discussion on a $50 billion deal that would take the company private. The report paywall claims that investors include Silver Lake and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund. This deal, according to the outlet sources, could be announced as soon as next week. Discussions on price are still underway, but the deal could value EA at as much as $50 billion. PIF already owns a 10% stake that is purchased in 2023. Silver Lake, on the other hand, doesn't have any stake currently, but it does have partial ownership of Unity, which EA has used for past titles. Should the EA sale happen, Wall Street Journal believes it would become the largest leverage buyout ever, not adjusting for inflation. The current largest buyout is the sale of TXU in 2027, $32 billion. As of publishing, EA stock has risen nearly 15% since news of the deal was first reported. The company's next earnings call is scheduled for October. Yeah, so interesting time we live in. If you remember PIF, I've talked about this briefly regarding Ubisoft as well, because do you guys remember when Ubisoft released a piece of news saying they're going to be releasing some free DLC for Mirage, Assassin's Creed Mirage? Literally, like, they haven't even released it yet, but they're going to, apparently. It's an older game, not for Shadows, but for Mirage. So, which was kind of weird. And digging into that, what we have learned is it's because of a deal they have made with PIF, which is probably PIF owning some stakes or injecting some money into the game, which made Ubisoft make these DLCs, which probably was slated to come out earlier and before Shadows dropped, but they just couldn't get it completed in time, so they focused on getting Shadows out on time, which is way more important than a DLC for Mirage at that point, at that point in time. So they probably delayed that, dropped Shadows. Now they finally have time to work on the Mirage DLC, and they're dropping it now. So probably what happened. I might be wrong, but take it with a grain of salt. Pure speculation, but that's probably what went down. But it's interesting. PIF seem to be having a lot of stakes in the gaming world lately. They seem to be putting their hands on pretty much everywhere, which is interesting. And even in this article by PC Gamer, they were talking about it. The other known quantity in the purported deal, Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, has been making inroads in games for several years as part of multifaceted push into global media and entertainment. So their investments in Hollywood, sports, it's crazy. EA, much like its competitor Ubisoft, has struggled. We already talked about this. So this is the interesting part. Should the deal go through, here are some of the major studios and games that could be affected. So the concern here is especially because when studios get bought out or get acquired by bigger studios, we see a lot of changes happen within these companies, and that's generally been the case in the past few years. We saw that happen with Embracer Group acquiring all these studios and then laying off a whole bunch of staff, which was ridiculous. And then same thing happened with Microsoft acquisition, with Activision and all bunch of other groups. They laid off like nearly 2,000 staff just this year, just a few months ago. And this is where the concern is. So now they're going to be bought by these few groups together, and then EA will go private, which would mean we can see layoffs happening in some of these studios as quickly as, in a couple of months, or even, a couple of weeks even. So BioWare, Mass Effect and Dragon Age, Respawn with Titanfall, Apex Legends, the Star Wars Jedi series. These are pretty good IPs, man. DICE and the other Battlefield studios, Battlefield and Mirror's Edge, Maxis, The Sims, the Madden, EA Sports games, Domen, Dead Space, and Need for Speed series. Skate recently resurrected, even though it didn't really do that well again. The Command and Conquer series, Origin Systems back catalog, Ultima, Wing Commander, so got a whole bunch of stuff. And these are like the most, I would say, like well-known IPs and that we should be worrying about. But yeah, we'll probably know in a couple of days where these went. But right now, this is happening, and it's something to pay attention to. If they do end up going private, there will definitely be repercussions as a result, and most likely what we're going to see is staff cuts. That's probably what we're going to see next, because it's one thing to buy out this company, but then also the next thing that these people are going to worry about is how do we keep making money out of this. The only way to do that moving forward is to reduce the staff and cut where possible. So that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. So let's see what happens. I would prefer that they stay public owned, but it's a business, so we don't know. Let me know what you guys think, as always, in the comments, and we can have a discussion about it. But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting that this is happening, and that we starting to see more and more these type of acquisitions happening across the gaming industry, purely because these giants, once they were giants, and now they're kind of struggling, these big AAA companies. It's very interesting.